Well, welcome to Christ and Culture. This is Pastor Jeff Short, your Bible teacher and cultural analyst. And today we're going to be talking about something that has been in the news for a couple of days now, and it's all over the headlines. It's making quite a big news flash in our culture, and that is that there has been supposedly a so-called whistleblower who worked for the U.S. government who has claimed that the U.S. government has in its possession 12 or more alien aircraft that it has been studying and probing and actually reverse engineering, trying to come up with some new technology from the wreckage or whatever is left of the crafts. And this whistleblower actually even went so far as to say that there are even some pilots of these alien aircraft that had been recovered also along with the aircraft. So you can imagine how this is going to set up the world news scene in a big way. Here is someone who is supposedly working for the government and claims that he has knowledge of alien aircraft technology being explored, and also the existence of the remains of some aliens themselves, so the creatures themselves. So this is big news. It's been talked about all over. And I think as Christians, we have to think about these things. We need to begin to engage the culture. So often the church, it basically tries to stay clear of these issues, tries to stay clear of controversy. Some of the bigger mega churches, they will not talk about anything that has any kind of controversy in it that might get them on the wrong side of bad publicity or might embarrass them or might cause division in the church. And so they just simply ignore everything that's out there in the culture. And they'll talk about things like personal, emotional growth, family improvement, financial improvement, a lot of how-to tips and life hacks using Bible verses, but they won't engage the culture in the issues that are being discussed in the culture. And these are things that are talked about at work, that are talked about on the internet, on radio and television, in the newspapers, being talked about in universities and colleges, and even in high school and junior high. People are talking about these things. So if people are talking about things, we need to be a part of that conversation, because if we're not a part of that conversation, they're going to go off the rails in their conversations as far as wackoness, and they're going to go off into foolishness. And we as Christians, we have the wisdom of God. We have the revelation of God found in the Bible. So we need to be a part of the conversation. And being a part of the conversation means we need to begin to talk about these things between ourselves, and also then share our understanding according to the Bible with other people in the public, and get out there and get the truth out and preach the gospel and disciple people for Jesus Christ. Part of the discipleship process is a sanctified mind. It's to conform our mind to the image of Christ, and we need to do that by discussing things and coming up with articulate ways of explaining God's truth and using these as teachable moments. And so we have a great opportunity right now, when people are talking about space aliens and extraterrestrials, to actually bring some wisdom that God has given us from the Bible to bear on these issues. So let's begin to deal with this latest headline. It seems like every year or two there is some bombshell headline about aliens lately. It's almost as if the news media is sort of softening us up to try to put one big, fantastic news article in front of us, like they've found some alien somewhere and they've interviewed an alien. Wouldn't that be the headline? Or there's some mysterious metal or material that scientists have discovered, and it must have come from some terrestrial planet or something like that. It almost as if they're sort of conditioning or grooming us to think in terms of aliens, and then you wonder, okay, what is the end of this? What is the end result of all of this? We're become more and more open to the idea that there are aliens and that we have to reach them, contact them, study them, and all of this. And so we as Christians have to be the adults in the room and say, okay, let's think through these things carefully and not run off like some immature child and believe whatever we feel is more exciting and more wonderful. I think a lot of these journalists are more or less just grown-up adults or grown-up children, undergrown children that still are watching Star Trek and watching E.T. and all of these other sci-fi shows, and they are like, wow, this is exciting, so they're going to report on it whether it's factual or not. So let's begin to tackle this issue. What about this so-called whistleblower? And that's kind of a weird term, but means somebody who's in the system and exposing the system. Supposedly, the government is sworn a lot of these workers to secrecy, and then they're not supposed to reveal government secrets. And this man has, evidently, and people are saying, well, he's credible. He's a credible employee. He's worked with the aerospace industry, and he's worked with government, and he's got a distinguished record. He's a young guy. I don't know how much of a distinguished record he can have if he's only been around on this earth for less than 30 years or so. I don't know how old he is. He looks about like 30. But they're saying, oh, he's credible. We need to believe him. We need to take him seriously. Well, my reaction at first is, okay, what is his claim? He claims that he has talked to people, high-level individuals, who have told him that they have worked or seen alien technology from alien crafts that have been studied for the purpose of reverse engineering the alien technology so that we can apply it to our own defense systems or technology on Earth. And he's also talked to some people, he claims, that have verified that there are actually alien bodies and creatures that have survived these supposed crashes or have been recovered along with the aircraft, alien aircraft. So these are big claims. But my first reaction was, okay, he's telling us things that he's heard, but he's not showing us anything. He's telling us, and we've heard this before time and time again. There have been other interviews of other individuals who have worked for government, either agencies, contractors, individuals who have worked within the government in the aerospace industry and even associated with unidentified flying objects, or UAP, I guess they're unidentified aerial phenomenon. We've heard these kinds of testimonies before. Now, the only difference that makes him special is that he has actually gone on record and said that the government actually has at least 12 of these alien ET aircraft and are studying them. Okay, that has never been claimed before. But there have been other individuals who have claimed that they have heard of tests and they've heard about aircraft, alien aircraft being recovered and actual aliens. Usually they say that they're dead aliens. They perished along with the crash of the alien aircraft. And so we've heard these before. So my initial reaction was, we've heard words like this before. We've heard claims like this before. I've seen interviews of people like this before. And my initial reaction was, these are just words. We've heard words before. Give us something actual, tangible, instead of just saying, I heard somebody who heard this. I have heard reports, or I've seen reports, or I've looked at files that have claimed that there are ETs, or in other words, it's just a hearsay. It's secondhand information. And I thought, when do we stop falling for this? When do we stop getting all excited about hearsay? He claims he heard somebody say this. He claims he heard somebody saw this. Somebody heard this, somebody saw this. I was privy to a conversation about this, that, or the other. Again, talk is cheap. So far, just words that we've seen. Such and such claims this, so-and-so saw this. Aren't you tired of hearing this kind of witness? Aren't you tired of this kind of excitement? Somebody saw this, somebody said they saw this, and so-and-so reports that they saw what such and such said. This is all of the same kind of testimony. It's second-hand, and it's hearsay. So are we really any closer to the truth? No, we're not. That's my initial reaction. So I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical of it because I've heard this kind of talk before. And you probably have also. I mean, I've been around. I remember there was one film, actually, that I saw. I think this was about 20 years ago, where they actually claimed that they had a video of an alien autopsy. Remember that? And it's carefully edited, so you really can't see much, and it's kind of black and white. And it's always just out of reach, always out of focus at the right time. There's no audio, and it just seems like it's just always, and that's the way it is with these claims of UFOs and extraterrestrials. It's always just something out of focus of the camera, or it's shaky camera, or there's nothing tangible, concrete that you can actually see and verify it. And so that's the second point. Where is the tangible, concrete, physical evidence? If you've got that, bring it forward. If it's just some more claims, if it's just some more secondhand testimony, if it's just some more hearsay, forget it. Don't even bother bringing it out, because we've heard enough about that. And it just seems like the journalists and the news media, they love to run with the alien stories now. It's almost like whenever ratings are sagging, or whenever the audience is getting a little bored, bring in somebody that claims that they saw or they heard something said in some secret government installation, or bring in somebody who makes some claims that you can't verify, you can't test, you can't confirm it. It's all just the same drivel, and we've heard it time and time again. But the journalists bring it out, and it does generate interest for a few weeks, and then it dies down because, of course, everybody's heard that before. Now, this guy, he's brought a little bit different and new into the mix, where he's actually claiming a specific number. We have over 12 crafts, alien ET objects that scientists are studying. What scientists? Doesn't say. Where are they being studied? Doesn't say. Who told you this? He says it's classified. He can't reveal that, and on and on. You know how it goes. And he also says that there are actual aliens that can be studied too, which is new. So he's brought two new things. Again, all unverified, untested. And then I would say, well, okay, wait until you have some actual physical, tangible, concrete evidence that you can reveal before you open your mouth, because we've heard all of these things before. Show us where, how about this? Show us where these tests are being conducted on these so-called alien spacecrafts. Give us a pathway in which we can verify what you're saying. And it doesn't make any difference whether the person who's saying these things, the testimony, is sincere or passionate or confidence. This guy, the latest so-called whistleblower, who basically, as I'll remind you, is just somebody who's making some big claims. And yeah, he seemed to be, up until this point, very credible. But who knows what are the motives in his mind and heart? Who knows what got into him to say these things? I don't assume that he is 100% legit, even though he hasn't blown his credibility before this time. He might be somebody who's taken too many anxiety medications. He might be somebody who is on meds for depression or anxiety or some other condition, and all of a sudden he is talking this way. Who knows? I don't know who he is as far as his condition. I don't know his background. I don't know his personal life. But he's making some big claims, and even if he sincerely believes it, hearing it from somebody is not the same as seeing it yourself. And seeing it yourself and reporting it is not the same as actually bringing in the receipts. In other words, bringing in the evidence yourself, laying it out before the American public and saying, here it is. So the challenge to all of these people who are making big claims is show us the evidence. It's like Jerry Maguire movie, show me the money, show me the evidence. Give me the goods. Let's look at them. Let's analyze them. Let's study them. Let's verify it. Big claims require big evidence. That's what the famous Carl Sagan said many decades ago. Big claims require big evidence. If you got the evidence, present it, and then you can make your big claims. But if you're just making a big claim and you don't have any of this evidence to actually back it up, I think we should dismiss him. And this man is making huge claims. He's claiming, one, we are in the possession, the government is in possession of alien aircraft. And two, the government is in possession of actual alien, either corpses or creatures. And these are fantastic claims. These are huge claims. Okay, where is a shred of evidence other than just him saying that he talked to some people who were privy to these things? I just don't see what all the excitement is about. So the witness's credibility is necessary but not sufficient. In other words, it's important that he be credible to believe his story, but it's not sufficient that he's credible to just automatically say, oh, we can believe his story. I would rather have someone who's not credible. Let's say some street person who has a history and record with the law, of breaking the law, or even jail time, very not credible, but he brings in some fragment or part of some alien aircraft and shows it to people. And at that point, it really doesn't matter what his credibility level is. He's got the goods. He's got a piece of the craft. He's got tangible, concrete evidence that the scientists then can go into a lab and publicly analyze this and publicly give us the details and their conclusions of what material this is, where it originated, and so on and so forth. So the credibility of this guy is being way overrated. So what if he's credible? If he doesn't have any evidence and it's just his word, what difference does credibility make? Give us somebody with some evidence. Show us the janitor. Show us the security guard. Or show us the plumber who came into this facility to unplug the bathroom sink at this secret facility and said, yeah, I actually saw them studying strange-looking crafts, and I actually saw them talking to strange-looking creatures. And who cares what the credibility of the plumber is? if he can show pictures that he took secretly on his smartphone, or if he can show some little piece of the aircraft that he secretly stole off the workbench, or while nobody was looking, slipped one of the alien materials in his plumber's bag, the credibility of this guy at that point would be totally irrelevant, and the material that he had and he presented as evidence for what he saw would be everything. So the credibility, the journalists keep saying, this man's credible. We have to believe him. He is totally believable. He is a top, has high-level clearance, and was in the situation to know these things. Okay, fine. But if it doesn't lead to any concrete, tangible evidence of bolstering his claims, it's just worthless. Now, as Christians, we want to remind people that in trying to understand and explain some of the weird and strange things that occur in the world of ufology, or those who studied UFOs, we as Christians, we have to remind the world that we already have creatures, beings, spirits, who are malevolent, they're bad, they're evil, they're sinful, rebellious, and we already know of them and have known of them for thousands of years, and these are called demons. And these are fallen angels who were created originally good, but at some point, we don't know when. I recently saw the movie Nefarious, and that demon-possessed prisoner, speaking on behalf of demons, said that these demons, the moment they were created, began to rebel against God because they immediately did not want to submit to someone's higher authority, which was God. And so they broke away and formed their own alliance with the devil, and they began to rebel against God. So, but that's just the movie Nefarious. I think the Bible doesn't actually say when these fallen angels became demons, but it does say that there was a revolt in heaven. There are passages that indicate up to a third of the angels were then in rebellion against God. So that's a third of the angels fell into sin and are now demons, classified as demons. And these spiritual creatures can do a lot of things. They can deceive people. They can, in the occult world, for example, they can materialize under different forms. They can move objects. They can make sounds. They can know things that people are amazed and shocked that they know. They have vast, data banks of information about humanity and about all kinds of things, I'm sure. So we have to be careful and be cautious because we might be dealing with demonic, or you might say in the more modern word, occultic forces. Because there are books out. I think the first book I ever read on this linkage between the occult and UFOs was written by a man named John Weldon back around 30 years ago. And he laid out the theory that these experiences, especially the alien abduction phenomenon, which is part of the whole UFO genre, people claiming to have been abducted by space aliens, taken up into these spacecrafts and probed and tested and had to undergo a lot of different experiences as if these alien scientists were trying to understand humans. And a lot of this is no question wrapped up with the occult. The same kind of things, poltergeist, ghost visions, and ESP, telekinesis, astral projection, all kinds of occultic activities. So you've got the whole occultic field, and then you have ufology, and the two are very much intermingling with each other. And so you have to consider the possibility that a lot of the individuals who are involved in UFO study technology, they are being influenced by demonic spirits who want to and have as a goal of sowing confusion among people. And we see that today, right now, with a lot of these reports that when they come out. There are probably more people than not that now believe that there are aliens either in the past or now in the present visiting this planet right now because of the kind of influence that these testimonies have and these reports and the conspiracy of the government to cover up and all kinds of other tantalizing headlines. There are probably more Americans that do believe in aliens, that the existence of aliens, and that the aliens have actually visited our planet either in the past or now than ever before. And it's almost like if you were Satan and you were the demons, you would say, hey, look, we've got them where we want them. They halfway believe that they're going to meet an alien at some point in their life anyway. And the news media is in it for the money, the advertising dollar, and the viewership. So we just keep slow feeding these reports, and they keep getting more bizarre and more bizarre and more bizarre. And these people are now conditioned, or you might say groomed, by these reports to pretty much accept on the flimsiest of evidence that an alien either is on the earth right now or has visited the earth and has left us with some information or technology or knowledge that we need to pay attention to. I mean, there are all kinds of scenarios that you could spin as to how a malevolent, evil entity could twist and distort perceptions and reality to convince a large population to do things that they would never do in a more rational, sober state. But because they're all excited about the aliens have come and we're here with, look at Hollywood. E.T., Star Trek, Star Wars. Look at all of the alien movies that have ever been produced. And I've seen a lot of them. It's like a generation right now has grown up with aliens as a reality, pretty much. And now that you have scientists saying, well, there are all these exoplanets out there, and there are probably, and now the better scientists are now saying, well, there probably are aliens just based on the fact that there are so many planets out there. And if you couple that with the theory of evolution, if evolution happened here, they claim, on the planet Earth, then it's probably happened many millions of times out in space amongst the billions and billions of planets. And so, the younger generation is basically raised to believe in all of this. And so it all could be culminating into a scenario where some space alien claims to be from a distant planet and foolish earthlings or people of the earth just believe hook, line, and sinker and follow this alien around. It could be really stupid like that. But in regard to this latest UFO headline, I would say be skeptical of it, because unless there are actual tangible material evidence, it's all just hearsay. Well, I hope that's been a helpful analysis, and we'll talk to you again on another adventure of Christ and Culture. God bless.